You know what I'm talking about, right? Those neat, confident AI answers that show up right at the top of our Google searches. They promise instant knowledge, but how much can we really trust them? Well, today we're going to dig into a pretty fascinating investigation that exposes the, let's call it, fragile truth behind these AI-powered answers. So this whole thing didn't start in some high-tech lab. Nope. It all kicked off with a really simple search that gave back a totally head-scratching answer. And, it was this one moment of pure confusion that really pulled back the curtain on a much bigger problem.
Okay, so picture this. A data analyst, Steve Punwasi. Here's a rumor about a famous wrestler. So what does he do? Well, exactly what you or I would do, right? He Googles it. And the question was super simple. When did Hulk Hogan die? But the answer he got back? Yeah, that's where things start to get a little weird.
So the AI comes back and confidently says, there are no credible reports of Hulk Hogan being deceased. And okay, fair enough, that's true. But then, right below that answer, Google links to an article with the headline, "Mystery Deepens Over Hulk Hogan's Death." Wait, what? It's like, which one is it? That's the kind of digital whiplash that just makes you go, what is actually going on here? Now you might be thinking, okay, that's just a weird one-off, a fluke. But it turns out it's not. To see just how deep this problem really goes, the New York Times and an AI startup called Oumi, they teamed up. They decided to put these AI answers to the test, and I mean at a massive scale. And when the first results came in, they looked pretty impressive, actually. Oumi's big benchmark test found that Google's latest AI, Gemini 3, was accurate 91% of the time. I mean, 91%. That sounds great, right? But, yeah, hold on a second. Because here's the catch. We're talking about Google scale with, get this, over 5 trillion searches a year. That little 9% error rate? Well, it isn't just a small flaw anymore. It's an absolute tidal wave of misinformation. So just how big of a deal is it? Well, we're talking about tens of millions of wrong answers. Not a day, not a week, every single hour. That breaks down to hundreds of thousands of mistakes every minute. The scale is just, it's almost impossible to even wrap your head around. And it's not like it's just one kind of mistake either. The investigation uncovered a whole pattern of different errors. So, okay, let's dive in and look at the evidence.
All right, first up, we have your basic, straightforward factual error. The AI said the Bob Marley Museum opened in 1987. The real date? 1986. And get this, its sources were a total mess. It cited a Facebook post that didn't even mention the date, and a Wikipedia page that actually contradicted it. Just, wow.
Then there's this next type of error, which is even more interesting. This is where the AI can have all the right information and still get it wrong. It was asked for the river west of Goldsboro, North Carolina. It answered, the News River, and it even cited a reliable local website. So what's the problem? It just drew the wrong conclusion from the data. The correct answer is actually the Little River. And now we get to the classic AI hallucination. This is where the AI just makes stuff up. It confidently claimed there was no record of the great cellist Yo-Yo Ma in the Classical Music Hall of Fame. But here's the truly bizarre part. It linked to the Hall of Fame's own website as its source, a website that lists him as an inductee. I mean, the truth was literally staring it in the face, and it still just invented a false fact. Okay, but it gets even deeper than that. The investigation uncovered a problem that's even more fundamental than just getting facts wrong. We're talking about an issue at the very foundation of how these AI answers are even put together. The researchers have a name for this. They call it an ungrounded answer. And this is a huge deal. Here's what it means. The AI can give you an answer that is factually correct, but the sources it links to, they don't actually support the information. So if you're like me and you want to click the link to check the facts for yourself, you're out of luck. The proof just isn't there. And just think about this for a second. Of all the answers that were actually correct, a staggering 56% of them were ungrounded. That's more than half. More than half of the correct answers are built on this shaky foundation you can't verify. And what's really concerning is that this problem actually got worse when Google upgraded to its newer, more powerful AI. So where is all this information coming from, you ask? Well, the analysis found something pretty startling. The second most cited source was Facebook. And number 4, Reddit. And here's the real kicker. Facebook was cited more often in the wrong answers than it was in the right ones. Yikes.
Okay. So far, we've mostly seen accidental errors and these weak, ungrounded foundations. But what if these flaws could be exploited
on purpose? Well, as it turns out, this AI can be tricked, and it is shockingly easy to do.
A journalist at the BBC decided to see just how easy it was with a little experiment. Here's the playbook he used. Step 1. Invent a totally fake claim. He made up a South Dakota International Hot Dog Eating Championship and said he was the winner. Step 2. Give it a really official-sounding title. And step 3. Just sit back and wait for Google to find it.
And sure enough, about a day later, he Googled the best hot dog eating tech journalists, and there he was. Right at the top of the AI overview, his completely fake win was being cited as a real fact. As he put it himself, it was spitting out the stuff from my website as though it was God's own truth.
So, after seeing all of this, we're left with a really big question, right? The next time you see one of those super confident AI answers at the top of your search, how much of it should you actually believe?
Let's just boil it all down, shall we? The AI is, yeah, it's often right, but its answers are frequently impossible to verify. It makes all kinds of different mistakes, including those wild hallucinations. It relies on pretty weak sources, like Facebook. And maybe worst of all, it can be actively manipulated.
So the big takeaway here is really an old saying that's more important now than ever before. Trust, but verify. I mean, even Google itself puts a little warning on its AI overviews saying they can make mistakes. And now I think we all have a better idea of just how seriously we need to take that warning.
And this really gets to the heart of the whole problem. These AI systems are literally designed to sound certain even when they are completely wrong. So if the AI is always confident, but it's not always correct, how are any of us supposed to tell the difference?